I'm going to show you how to create your own program using a tool called Scratch. So that you can create the program along with me, pause this video whenever you need to and repeat the steps on your computer. Here is how your finished project will look. To start any Scratch program, click on the green flag. When I click on the green flag, I see some text start to blink, and if I click on a tack, a volcano appears and a fact about that volcano pops up. If I click on a different tack, the volcano moves to that tack, and then I see a different fact. To stop any Scratch program, click on the red stop sign. So to get started, you'll need to be on the Scratch website. Ask your teacher how to get there. We created a blank project for you that has just the pictures that you'll need to get started, just to save you some time so you can focus on adding your code to this program. To look inside any Scratch program, click on the See Inside link. And it's a great way to learn about computer programs by looking at the programs written by others on the Scratch website. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to sign into the Scratch website by clicking on Sign In the upper right. Ask your teacher what your login and password should be. But now that I'm logged in, I can save my work back to the Scratch website. The first thing I'm going to do is click Remix, which is going to make a copy of this program that's all mine. I'm going to click on OK. And now it's remixing or creating a copy just for me. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Kim's Volcanoes. You should name it whatever your teacher asks you to, but it has to be something that allows you to find your program, to distinguish your program from someone else in your class or in your grade. So don't use your last name, by the way, when naming your program, but whenever you're done, click on File and Save Now. So now I'm ready to get started. So a little bit about how Scratch works. It's like a play. You have a stage, and on the stage you're going to put sprites. And a sprite can be really anything your program needs. It can be a person or an animal or a drum. In this case, our sprites are a volcano and 4 tacks. So a sprite can do 3 things. It can have a script that makes it move or do something. It can have a costume or several costumes, which is just a different image, and then it can change that image or change that costume to look a different way. And it can have sounds. You can either pull a sound from the Scratch library by clicking here, or you can record your own voice or your own sound using the microphone. So that's essentially what a sprite can do. In our program, our sprites are going to, our tacks rather, are going to tell our volcano sprite to do some work. The volcano is really going to do everything. The volcano is going to move to the spot where the tack is. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and then it's going to state the fact about that tack. So all the tacks really do are tell the volcano which tack I am and where I'm located. In programming, we call that a listener, where the volcano is a listener. All it's doing is listening for someone else to tell it what to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name my tacks. And the reason I do that is, first of all, it helps me prevent making a mistake in my code, and it just makes everything clearer when you're looking at things to see what they're called and see what their name is. So to do that, I'm going to click on the I next to my first tack, and I'm going to call it St. Helens. And then I'm going to click on the left arrow to close that menu. And I'm going to rename my second tack to Kilauea, because that's the volcanoes that I'm going to do. The third tack, I'm going to call it Kilimanjaro. And my fifth tack, I click on I, is going to be Mount Vesuvius. I click on the left arrow. So now all my tacks are named and I'm ready to get started. I'm going to start with the St. Helens tack. I'm going to click on it and see how it blinks when I keep clicking on it. That's how I can tell one tack from another. And I'm going to drag that on the map where it belongs. The next one, I'm going to click on Kilauea, so I put that one in the right spot. click on Kilimanjaro so I can see it blinking and I know where it should go. And the last one has to be Vesuvius. So I'm going to add a script to my St. Helens tack by clicking on the St. Helens sprite, and I'm going to drag some steps over onto my programming pane. Every script in Scratch has to start with an event, and I'm going to pull that from the events menu or events library here. And what that is an event tells the script when to run. Do I want my script to run when the green flag is clicked, when this program starts, when my end user presses a key, when this sprite is clicked? And that is the one I'm going to choose for this one because I want this script to start when someone clicks the tack. So that's going to be how this script starts. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to store rather the location of this tack because the first thing the tack is going to do is it's going to record its location. And in Scratch, the way the sprites can tell where they are or where they ought to be is by X and Y coordinates. And without knowing too much about geometry, just know that X is going left and right, and Y is how far I am up and down. A good way to memorize that is that X, the letter X, has two legs at the bottom. It's like a man and it can just run. And a Y is like a bird, but the two top parts of the letter Y are like wings. And the Y direction is the up and down direction. But you don't need to really understand a whole lot more about it than that. That X and Y tells a sprite where it is and where it should be. So in order to send that to the volcano, I'm going to store it in a bucket or a variable. And that's behind the data menu. I'm going to click make a variable. And I'm going to type in here with my keyboard, I'm going to call it Volcano X and hit OK. And I'm going to do it again and say Volcano Y. So now I have two empty buckets. And I'm going to drag this next thing over and click it right under the start of my script. And then I'll do it a second time. I'm going to make sure that one of these says X and one of these says Volcano Y. So now I've got two empty buckets and I want to store this tack's X and Y coordinate inside those buckets. To do that, I'm going to go to the motion menu because the motion menu has a little oval down here that will tell me where I am. So I'm going to drag the X position to that spot and the Y position to that spot. So this blue oval, it knows where this tack's X and Y position is. And I'm storing it inside my variable, inside my X variable and my Y variable. The last thing I'm going to do with this script is I'm going to send a message using the events library. I'm going to send a message saying to anybody in this program who's listening, my new message will be tack clicked. And that's going to just tell everyone in my program a tack has been clicked. I'll send a separate broadcast that tells everyone St. Helens. Oops. And hit OK. So now my volcano will know, because it's going to be listening for that event, that a tack was clicked and it was the St. Helens tack. So the next thing I need to do is write some code for the volcano so the volcano can respond to that event. So I'm clicking on the volcano and I'm going to add a script to my volcano. And I'm going to have it respond to the events that my tack just sent out. The first one it's going to respond to is that the tack was clicked. And what I want it to do when the tack was clicked is I want it to, first I'm going to make it move to the spot where the tack is. And it'll do that under the motion menu. So I click on motion, scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to say go to an X and Y position. And I'm going to get that from my bucket, my variable, under the data menu. So I'm going to say Volcano X and Volcano Y. So now my volcano is going to move to the location that I just set in the last script. The next thing it's going to do under the looks menu is it's going to get really small, like gone. So I'm going to click on set size to 100%, and I'm going to change it with my keyboard to 0%, which means you can't even see it. The next thing I'm going to do under the control menu is I'm going to add a repeat block. So for anything you put inside this area of the repeat block, it will execute that block or that script over and over. It'll repeat it 10 times essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, under the looks menu, I need to scroll down. I'm going to change this volcano's size by 10. So 10 times in a row it's going to get bigger, bigger, bigger. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it wait so that my end user has some time to read my message. And I'll add one more repeat block to make it go back down to size. I'm going to say change size by, and I'll make it -10. And that's just a dash on your keyboard with a 10. So that will make it shrink back down. So essentially it's going to go to my tack, get super small, zoom in, wait 10 seconds, zoom back out to be super small, back down to nothing. The next thing I need to do is add another event that I'm going to respond to the St. Helens event. And when this volcano hears that someone has said that St. Helens was clicked, it's going to say something, and that's behind the looks menu. So I'll drag this over, and here's where you put your St. Helens fact. So type in whatever fact that you've recorded about your volcano, or in this case about St. Helens. Make it display for, I think, at least 10 seconds so that your reader has enough time to read it. So now I'm ready to try it and see how it works. If I click on the green flag and I click on St. Helens, my volcano went to that tack, zoomed in, and is displaying my fact. So in 10 seconds, that's going to shrink back down. And while it's doing that, I'm going to start adding code to the rest of my scripts, to my sprites rather. So if I click on St. Helens, a neat trick is if you drag any script and then drop it by letting go of your mouse on top of the other sprites, it makes a copy of that. It copies that script to that sprite. So I just copied it to Kilauea and Kilimanjaro. If I click on Kilauea, look, there's my script. If I click on Kilimanjaro, there it is again. I didn't copy it to Vesuvius just to prove to you that's how that worked. Vesuvius doesn't have a script. So I'll click on St. Helens and I will copy it to Vesuvius. Drag it, let it go. If you have trouble with that for some reason, it's hard to click and drag, you're welcome to just recreate that script for the other tacks. The last thing I need to say to Kilauea, you need to send a different broadcast. The Kilauea tack needs to send a broadcast that says, I'm Kilauea, that was just clicked. And my Kilimanjaro sprite needs to send a message, Kilimanjaro. And my Vesuvius sprite needs to send a message, Vesuvius. So the very last thing is for the volcano to then say a fact about those other volcanoes. And I'm just going to do that just like I did the St. Helens one. And I'm going to do it one after the other. When I receive Kilauea, when I receive Kilimanjaro, and when I receive Vesuvius. And then I'll go to the looks menu and click on a say block. I'm going to drag them all one by one. And then I'm going to put in my fact here. So here's where you put your Kilauea fact. This is where you put your Kilimanjaro fact. And this is where you put your Vesuvius fact. I'm going to make them all 10 seconds so people have a chance to read it. And I'm all done. So I'm going to go ahead and click the green flag and watch it all working. I clicked the green flag. There's my Kilauea fact, my St. Helens fact, my Vesuvius fact, and my Kilimanjaro fact. So I hope your facts are more interesting than mine, but that's essentially how the program will work. A last step that you might want to do is to decorate your backdrop or your stage. So I would click on the stage and then on backdrops. And there are some drawing tools in here where you can put your name down here with maybe with the text box. Kim's Volcanoes. You can change the font to something that you like better. When I click off of it, I can make it bigger by dragging on these little boxes on the outside. You can also add a message, a picture, whatever you like over in this area to decorate your program and make it feel like your own. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope it has inspired you to try computer programming, look at the Scratch website, and look at any program that you see and learn how to use it. And I just hope that you have enjoyed it.